Welcome, everyone, to our non-farm payrolls. Now, I would just like to inform you guys that whether there's a trade or not, I wanted to do this session to clarify some things, answer questions, talk trading, and also just observe the non-farm payrolls week and just discuss why we're taking trades, why you should wait for signals, uh, trade from these levels, be patient. You're not going to necessarily get a trade every single day, but everyone should know by now gold is actually, I'm pretty biased towards gold. And what I can just visually see here is that we're clearly still on the front side. So if traders were looking for a reversal on the inside, that could have been a no-go, mainly because we're still above the closing price. Now, if we would have got this, that would have been a different story. Not to say that we can't get a sell opportunity up top, but if you are selling here, you better know what you're looking for. Triple tops, head and shoulders. Most likely, if you are going to get a reversal today, that will be in the third hour. So, yes, we're trading non-farm payrolls, but I'm not trading the actual news event. Welcome all to anyone who just now joined. I'm seeing a lot of people still joining. Okay, so if you have no signal day, there should be no setup. Now I'm just gonna go through the entire basket. I'm actually gonna start with the indexes and I'm just gonna commentate right up until 9:30 New York because technically, and this is part of my trading system, I don't do anything until New York open. And that doesn't mean trade right at New York Open. Sometimes I still have to wait to the third hour anyway. But we have the S&P here. And as far as I can tell, this is a dump and pump weekly template. Why is that? Because we had our first green day signal. And then we had higher highs on the inside, which is always the breach of a previous day level. Now, I would just like to bring up my rules. Having rules as a trader keeps you in check. And as long as you stay within the boundaries and manage your risk and think in terms of probability and also just have some grace. If you take a loss, that doesn't mean you're a bad human or a bad trader. You just landed on the wrong side of probability, and that's fine. But higher high equals dump and pump, lower low equals pump and dump. I'm pretty sure you guys have all seen me type this out in the chat, but hearing me say this to you right now, listen very carefully. I don't get a higher high or a lower low unless they break a previous day level. Now, yes, you can get higher highs on the inside and lower lows on the inside, but that's on the actual trading day. For instance, a closing breakout. We got a closing breakout signal last Thursday and lower lows on the inside because we didn't necessarily breach the previous day's low just yet. Breakout traders are triggered. So where are their stops? The other side. They hit their stops and they give me a lower low, which is the recipe for, you guessed it, the pump, coil, dump opportunity. Now, yes, we're getting lower lows on Tuesday, inside day and first green day close. Yes, these are higher highs on the inside, but I don't have a real higher high until they break the previous day's high, which they did. They stayed above it, retested it, and continue with the trend. All you had to do was get in at a level. As far as entries go, because I will say, for anyone who has been joining my mentorship recently and just previously, I've noticed this question occur quite often, and that is, how do you enter the market? And I'm going to say the same exact thing every time. And believe me or not, you're just going to have to build your playbook and get your memory really, really tight because I'm just entering from a level. And if I'm not at a level, I will wait for them to get to a level and then wait for the 1 hour candle to close or the 30-minute candle to close. Maybe sometimes that's the 15-minute candle to close. And then I will enter the market on a smaller time frame in between the new 15-minute or the new 30-minute or the new 1 hour. Now you may be asking, well, how am I doing this? I'm actually looking at multiple time frames at once when I'm trading. And I'm just gonna give you all a really big hint. Now I've heard this before. Well, isn't it a lot to look at all those time frames? It is for someone who's looking at the bars. But guess what I'm looking at? I'm just gonna give this few few seconds. Can anyone guess what I am looking at on all of these charts? And mind you, I'm not looking at the bars. Can anyone guess? Level, levels, that correct, levels, pattern. Okay, these are good answers. Time, there it is. There it is. D. Thank you. I am looking at 1 second. I'll circle it. I'm looking at the clock, the time. Yes, I'm looking at the levels. Yes, I'm doing that. But I'm looking at the clock. We just rotated into a new hour, which at the same time was a 30-minute and a 15-minute and a 5-minute rotation at the same time. So when that happens at a level, um, that's the trade. Uh, Tally, I am actually recording. Uh, so no need to I don't know if it's gonna mess up my recording or not if I accept it. I'm not sure how many people can record at once. Okay, gotcha, gotcha. But the clock is what I am looking at. Now, this takes lifetime practice. Me just telling you this and showing you chart examples is not going to be enough. So you're going to have to actually, in live time, when you're at a level, pay attention to the new 1 hour candle, the new 30-minute candle, the new 15-minute candle. And then by the time you enter the market, all you had to do is wait for the close of these candles. So if you don't have a premium subscription and you can't pull up four charts like this, you need to be watching the clock every 15 minutes when you are at a level. When you're inside, you're inside. There's nothing you can do about that. But when you're at the high of the day, which I'm going to mark this off, we're above the high of the day. So this is the new hour, correct? Which we have 57 minutes left. We have 27 minutes left until the new 30-minute candle open. But in general, I'm looking every 15 minutes and then I will check the price action to see if this is a potential entry or not. Now, if they leave without you and you don't get in, don't chase it. Wait for them to break down, wait for them to pull back and continue. Now, to continue to our watch list, I had the indexes on my radar. This was my chart markup. And I would like to emphasize this. Let me actually pull this up and read this. This is a huge emphasis because if you're not doing this, you should not be trading the next day. Question number one, do you know what a 90-10 setup looks like? Do you know what you're hunting? Two, what signal did you have? Three, were your charts marked up? This is super important. If your charts are not marked up, if you're not annotating the right things, by the time you come to the market, your brain is just going to be scattered. You're going to be looking at all these bars. You're going to see the clock. The monkey mind is going to, the criminal brain is going to be activated. There's a fear factor. Oh, I don't want to lose. Oh, I want to win. Oh, I'm going to force myself to win today. These are all general thoughts of a typical trader, every trader. Now, just to bring up my rules again, I mark off my higher highs and lower lows. I mark off my signal days, and that is it. Now, I am aware that there are extra rules. The highest close of the week slash month equals sell high. That doesn't mean just sell it just because I need a sell setup. The lowest close of the week slash month equals buy low. That doesn't mean buy it automatically. I need a buy setup. So look at this chart. Don't look at the bars. Look at the closing price levels. Here's Friday's close, which I'm just going to remind you all, this is where everything starts from. This is why I was so confident in buys yesterday. We don't know anything until the close of Monday. So Monday, higher close. Tuesday, they close below Friday's close. So who's trapped for now? Or who's in drawdown for now? That would be longs. Now they close back above Friday's close. Who's trapped now? And who's potentially back in the money? Shorts are trapped. Breakout traders from the previous week, because it's the previous week level, are trapped. And we now have a first green day signal. Now we have higher highs. So guess where the market is going to go? Whenever breakouts are triggered, these are the breakouts that were triggered. Whenever they're triggered, where are their stops? I would like for someone to answer that question. Where are their stops? Up top. So that's our target. If previous week low breakout traders are triggered and trapped, the money is on the other side. Now that we've hit that and we're still on the front side, now I don't know what the market is going to do. And I don't care. All I'm going to do is follow my rules. If I'm still on the front side of a move or the trend or the week, I will think trend and I will not tweak this whatsoever. If I'm on the backside, I will think reverse and nothing else whatsoever. I will not tweak that whatsoever. If I get higher highs, I will think dump and pump and nothing else whatsoever. Same thing with lower lows. But then I get this question. We got lower lows on Tuesday, Snipe, but we didn't get a pump and dump. Okay. And it just didn't happen. You're not going to get a trade every single time. It has to set up, which is why I have a multitude of rules here. or formulas, let me just say that I will follow. I did it in this way so that it's easy to follow. This isn't some rocket science. Peak formation on Tuesday, dismissed the pump and dump. Correct. They engulf the low bear. I mean, I can get really intricate here. They lock in the low and they just keep breaking. They keep breaking. Oh, and we're on the backside. So I will be thinking reversal. Now, this is not just random. Now, let's go to another chart. Let's go to not the well, I did see a question about the inside day. Um, as a matter of fact, there's a lot of traders that are having trouble with the inside day. What's going on, Leo? BS. The inside day is just a signal, mind you. Let's just say this is our previous day levels, and this is the close of the day. The inside day, I'm either looking for the, actually, I drew this up wrong. Well, okay. I'm either looking for the false break reversal, pump and dump, which that's all the market does, or they will just break out, pull back, and trend. That is the only two scenarios an inside day can do. So the real question is which one are you looking for? Correct. We need a bigger picture. US 30, for example, looking at this chart. A lot of the inside days that I trade are following a closing breakout, or it may be a first red day, first green day at the same time. We get a closing breakout on Tuesday, but mind you, Friday's closing price is where everything starts. And I would just like to emphasize that Monday closed right at Friday's closing price. No one's in the market, but we do have traders trapped. Tuesday, breakout, pullback, closing breakout, continuation trade. Tuesday's the range expansion day. Wednesday, inside day. Traders were trading the indexes on Wednesday, which is not bad, but there's no 90-10 setup here. We're inside. We did trigger the previous week's low, and they're failing to go lower. Let's just mark off this low bear really quickly. Because if you want to know if the higher low is locked in, they're gonna respect the low bear. They're not gonna go any lower than the low bear. Inside day. We get higher highs on the inside, which is the recipe for the dump and pump, and that's it. Now I have the US 30 and the US CAD here for you. Now, mind you, this is a inside day trend trade, but it's a dump and pump low of week reversal. So don't get that confused. US CAD was simply just the inside day, right? And all they did was break out, pull back, and trend. But do you guys see what happened at the beginning of that hour, which was also at the same time, the beginning of the 15-minute and the 30-minute and the 5-minute? They just went parabolic. Now traders are having trouble with entries. My advice would just be to wait for the hour to close and then make that decision. Are you trading this hour or are you going to wait the next hour? Now you can narrow it down to the next 30 minutes, the next 15 minutes when you're at that level, but that is only when I am at the high or low of the day or at a level. That is it. Now, US CAD, that news event was really, I don't want to say it's funky, but that is a really crazy pin, right? We also are on the backside of the week and they triggered the previous day's low, which is the recipe for a lower low, excuse me, pump and dump. But this often happens. This scenario where traders get mixed up. I got the higher high first. So essentially I would be looking for the dump coil pump. Now there are some confluences here that I'm going to add. One was still above Friday's closing range. So traders got to be careful if they are going to trade this. This could just continue long. Breakout, pull back to a level, continuation. We're failing to close below, but there are some confluences here that you could actually look for a short trade. And here's one of them. We got one higher close, two higher closes, three higher closes, four higher closes. Now, what I'm going to ask you is if they are going to trap someone today, where would they close? Now, I'm not asking you this to answer this. I'm telling you, if they are going to trap anyone today, it would be longs. If they are going to trap anyone, and it would only make sense for them to trap, excuse me, close below one or both of these closing price levels, because that would emphasize to us that whoever was long here, whoever was long here, whoever's long right there is in drawdown and is potentially trapped. So I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just showing you guys why you need rules. I have rules. Higher high equals pump and dump. Lower low equals pump and dump. Front side equals trend. Back side equals reverse. Signal days, which I am now seeing that this does actually need to be practiced. You need to understand what a textbook first green day looks like pound cat. Textbook first green textbook. As a matter of fact, this is exactly the same thing that the indexes did. The only difference is that they did it a day later. So we got the signal. They did not give the trade yesterday, but they gave the trade today from our levels. Now, I'm not telling you to trade the actual news event. We're looking for first bounce or first bar if you are trading this. This technically could be tradable 15 minutes later. Let's look at 8:45. Okay, no entry. I wait the next 15-minute rotation or close to the end of that hour. They give a engulfment right off of the 20 MA for a retest for a first bounce continuation, potentially back to this level. Now traders are looking for the 200 pip explosion when all you can do is take the easy 50 pips, be realistic, take the easy 50 pips and be done. They've already went parabolic. And it's quite obvious where the stops are. They trapped breakout traders below the previous week's low, triggered them, came back inside the range. Higher highs, where? On the backside, which equals reverse. Higher highs equals dump coil pump. Where are their stops? Here. That's where the stops are. Now, that's where I would be targeting. I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm just showing you why you need rules, why if you don't have rules, you're going to be going for anything and everything. Let's go to a few more chart examples. I was also looking at natural gas, which they may or may not even do anything significant today. But just based off everything I have marked up, we're still on the front side. The back side is over here. I can't really look for a large scale reversal just yet because the back side is over here. No previous day low levels triggered yet. What are the three things markets do? Breakout, pullback trend, breakout, fail, reverse, or breakout, pullback, and stay in a trading range. And so far, that's all they're doing right now. We're just in a trading range. But if they end up failing and reversing, I can still get that range reversal from the top. Or if they're just going to continue with the trend, that's just what they're going to do, continue with the trend. Let's go to, was it UJ or was it EJ? UJ, perfect example of a nice textbook first red day. Now, in a scenario where we don't have non-farm payrolls, this trade came right off of the weekly level. But Monday, inside day, Tuesday, closing breakout, which higher highs equals dump and pump, right? But this is a closing breakout signal, and we are at the highest closing price of the week so far. And we have lower lows on the inside, which me personally, I mark this off as RE, range expansion. Now, I get that question a lot. What does that mean? It's the same exact thing as a higher high or a lower low, but the only difference is that it's inside and not from a previous day level. So this still holds emphasis. Lower lows on the inside is the recipe for the pump and dump. The high bull held as a major level of resistance, and we got a short trade that shorted to the close of the day from the highest closing price of the week and current month. Thursday gives us lower lows, which is the recipe for pump and dump. And I'm going to give you guys a huge nugget. If it is a pump and dump, they're going to engulf the high bull. They're going to keep engulfing the high bull or the highest bull. So pump, 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 high bull engulfment, breaking structure, lower lows, dump. That is quite literally the three-step process for every single trade. It's either going to be a peak formation low, peak formation high, lower lows on the inside, which again, they're going to engulf the high bull for the pump and dump, or it's going to be a peak formation high, peak formation low, failure to go lower, by the way, higher highs on the inside, which is the recipe for the dump and pump. A one, two, three. And both of these models is pretty much exactly why I made my rules the way they are. Front side equals trend, back side equals reverse, lower lows equals pump and dump, higher highs equals dump and pump. The buy low setup is a dump coil pump. Sell high setup is a pump coil dump. And the highest close of the week slash month equals sell high. The lowest close of the week or month equals buy low. Let's see. So peak formation low, peak formation high is a dump and pump setup. It can be. Now there are different three session variations. I don't really like to get into that because that just confuses the trader. Now, your question was, is peak formation low, peak formation high, a dump and pump setup? What I'm going to answer your question and say is the actual setups are the signals. First green day is a dump and pump setup. Inside day can be a dump and pump setup. Closing breakout can be a dump and pump setup. Peak formation low, peak formation high, lower lows on the inside. If that wasn't a typo, this is a pump and dump. Peak formation low, peak formation high, lower lows. But instead of doing all that, because the reason why I taught that is so you guys can see the mechanics of what a pump and dump is. But realistically, day two can be an inside day. It can be a first red day. It could be a closing breakout. They're still going to follow the same three steps. Peak formation low, peak formation high, lower lows on the inside for the dump and pump. Now, on the day, because this actually happens, excuse me, I said pump and dump. I didn't mean to say dump and pump. You could get a peak formation low, peak formation high, pull back to the peak formation low for the dump and pump. This could also happen. I did speak about this in the YouTube videos. It's either the jab or the cross. The jab being the pump and dump, the cross being the breakout pull back. Because if they do this, the reason why is because this was a higher high. We don't necessarily get lower lows on the inside. The market may or may not have had a first green day signal, or the weekly template is dumping for a pump. This can happen. So traders will say, well, Snipe, where's the 1, 2, 3? The one would be for the dump and pump at least, because this is a breakout pullback continuation, but we still have a peak formation high, new peak formation low, and not all of the time will they break structure on the inside, but you will see some type of indication here that they're going to go long. Higher high equals dump and pump. So hopefully that cleared some confusion. Now, that is not the only three session variation. Now, I tell traders all the time after a signal day, on the actual day itself, I'm looking for this. And then they will say, well, Snipe, they didn't do that here. Okay, zoom out and look at what they did overall for the pump and dump, peak formation low, peak formation high, high bull engulfment, backside, lower lows on the backside, dump. They quite literally did everything you see right here. And what made me look for the pump and dump? The signal day. Signal days. I will look for the bias of that signal day. Yeah, RE means range expansion. Now, the difference between the two, write this down in your notes. Now, this is just part of my rule system. This is why you need rules. You can copy my rules or you can make your own rules and be very specific. Higher high is the break of a previous day level, which is a range expansion. Mind you, that is a range expansion. But if they break structure on the inside, that is still a range or a lower low or a higher high. I mark it off as RE so I can have a visual difference of the inside and the outside. Lower lows on the inside. After a closing breakout, I can look for the pump and dump. Lower lows on the inside after a first red day. I can look for the pump and dump because they have to pump it up first anyway. And then they have to engulf. And then they have to break structure, lower lows, pump, 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 crash. Beautiful first red day template here. And this is just more confluence of what I said on Wednesday. There were traders having trouble Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And I have to remind you, you're trading a non-farm payrolls week, which typically sets up for Friday, non-farm payrolls day. So if you have a setup for that week, it's potentially going to set up for non-farm payrolls. You may get a first bar, you may get a first bounce. They may do absolutely nothing, and you continue with your original thesis, trade in the third hour. So be specific. What exactly are you looking for? Can you go over trend trades? Look at US CAT. If you're on the front side, what am I thinking? Trend trade. Now, if I want to take a trend trade, I'm going to need? I'm going to need a signal day. And then I'm going to need either higher highs or lower lows, like yesterday, inside day signal, higher highs in the US session, which is the recipe for the dump, 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 pump. And I'm just going to circle this. This candle was a 15-minute, or what I'm circling is a 15-minute rotation, which, mind you, at the same time, it is also a 30-minute rotation. So right around here at the level, there was an entry. And then right when 10 a.m. started, new hour, they blasted off in the direction of the trend. This is a trend trade. If you're looking for trend trades, again, guess what you're gonna need? A signal day. Now, for instance, like I stated earlier with the Dow Jones, this is an inside day signal. And on the actual day itself, it was a trend trade. But this is overall a low of week reversal, dump, coil, pump. If you're going to trade with the trend, you would have had to have done that today, now. Higher high, which is the break of a previous day level. Guess what that means? Guess what the formula for that is? Dump and pump. And guess where you're going to get in from a level? It's taking a bit to load here. But here was the breakout level that came right off of that level. Let me take the numbers off really briefly. We came right off of that level. And when we got back to these closing price levels, pin hammer. This is also above the 20 EMA, crossing all of the rest of the EMAs. And if you were uncomfortable with that, a trader could have waited. They break out, they pull back. That is a really big bar. But if a trader was to just nail and bail here, just get a couple pips back to these highs, they give us a pin after the pullback. There's your entry, there's your stop loss. There you go, an easy 5, 6, 7R in 3 minutes. We're done. Typically, me, I just take 100 pips and I'm done. Let's see, Jay, I have a conflicting question. Coming to the charts every day, which one takes over the other, the setups or the signal day? Because some days I catch my setup without the signal, and some other I get the signal, follow with the setup. Excellent question. I'm going to read this question as well. If we trade just signal days, can we ignore 4H daily time frame bias? So I'm going to answer both of those questions with what I'm about to explain. I'm going to take all of this off of my chart. And this is really important emphasis here. Really important. Let's just start over here. Now, yes, the only thing I care about is signal days. And as far as direction goes, it doesn't matter what time frame you're using. And just a second, I'll show. But yes, there can be to the traders some conflicting things going on. But let's just remember. I'm gonna type my rules out in the comments, and I want you guys to see literally the only thing that I'm gonna do is follow these rules. Front side equals trend, and that is it. This is the process. So I actually, yes, there will be trades that don't have a signal day, and that is because your expertise is just a little bit more advanced. What do I mean by that? You're trading 3-day setups. You're trading Wednesday reversals, Wednesday blow-offs, Thursday range reversal trades, Friday parabolic trend trades. Let's see, dump coil pump, DNP, or dump coil pump, sell high equals pump, coil dump. Let's see, how do I get the same indicators as you? They are in the Discord in the indicators tab section. And then the signal days, which you guys know first red day, sell high, first green day, buy low, inside day, outside day, closing breakout, and 3 days of breakout traders. Those are all bilingual signals, which means that they can trend or reverse. And that is all based up off of this process that I'm about to show. All I do is mark off my signal days. They break the previous day's low, which if I follow my rules, that is a lower low, but I still need some confluence heading into the week. They gave me a higher high on Friday, which that is the recipe for the dump and pump, which that's exactly what they did. Higher highs on the inside, which is a RE. I marked it off as RE. Range expansion. It's the same thing as a higher high or a lower low. The only difference is that it is, where are you? Inside. So higher highs again, a closing breakout. Mind you, this is the only thing that I'm doing. And then on the day, I look for my setup. Inside day. And I'm going to speed run through this, but this is every single day. Yes, there are trades here. We had a dump and pump template here, 3 session, back to the highs because higher high equals dump and pump. Inside day signal. Yes, we had a trend trade here. I wouldn't necessarily call Monday or Tuesday a first green day, but if you want to be aesthetic as far as the 3-day pattern, we had a dump day, first green day signal on Monday, buy low setup on Tuesday, and a continuation on Wednesday. So sometimes you may think that you have no signal day when there actually was a signal day. It was just a few days ago, and that signal day bias, first red day, first green day, is still playing out, which is why the daily time frame matters. But we get our first red day signal now. And what do we get after that? The first red day trade, because we did get lower lows on the inside, but now we have lower lows, real lower lows. Which what am I looking for after that? Pump coil dump, lower lows, pump coil dump, lower lows, closing breakout, pump coil dump. Now, I would like to just tell you right now, doing this every single day requires literally zero to no effort. I'm just preparing myself for the next day by marking off signal days. Now, the next day doesn't mean trade. On the day, you still need them to pump it back up or dump it back down. And I'm using the 1 hour chart for structure, market structure for that week, for that day. As you can see here, look at this higher high. What do they have to do? They have to dump it back down. Yes, this is a lower low according to the rules, but I am not going to ignore this. Higher high equals dump, coil, pump, which means they have to dump it down. Once again, first, I have to make huge emphasis on that. Now, I will also say this, the dump down is tradable if you get a signal, day one breakouts, day two breakouts, day three breakouts, and a setup. It's tradable because the signal was 3 days of breakout traders, and that was the setup. So the dump down was tradable, which was a stop hunt. Yeah. You see that? That is crazy. Too easy. Let's continue. Mark off these signal days. And mind you, I am only marking off signal days and I am only marking off higher highs and lower lows. And I am just following the market's overall structure. That is it. Closing breakout. Higher highs. What is that the recipe for? Dump and pump. Higher highs. Closing breakout. What is that the recipe for? Dump, coil, pump. Now, if traders took the sell trade, it was a nail and bail. Mind you, we're still on the front side of this trend. Higher highs, closing breakout. What is that the recipe for? The dump and pump. But take this into huge consideration here. Yes, this is technically a first red day signal, technically. And they do give somewhat, actually, this was actually very choppy. We get lower lows though. So all I'm going to do is mark that up. But what I will tell you guys right now is that I am not ignoring this at all because the price action that we're seeing right now is the dump back down. This level here is the previous month's high that triggered that with a breakout and they pull back. Also, the week itself, because this is the previous week's high, right? The week itself closed in breakout. That's a signal for the next week for either a large range trend trade or a large range reversal trade. How do I know this? Or how can I get good at this? So you see all my indicators here? I will send the template in the chat, but I have a template. When I go to the 4 hour chart, because I seen that as a question, when I go to the 4 hour chart, I have my previous week high, previous week low, and closing price. Now, I'm doing the same exact thing that I'm doing on this chart to the 1 hour charts. If I see higher highs, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to mark that off. If I see a week that closes in breakout, guess what I'm going to do? Mark that off. That week itself closed in breakout, which is a signal. This week right here gave me higher highs. That is the recipe for the dump, consolidation, higher highs on the inside, pump, setup, dump coil pump, higher highs, which they broke the previous week's high. It's the same exact thing. So as far as market, as far as bias goes, as far as trying to figure it out, There's absolutely nothing to figure out if you have rules. And these are the rules. Whether you perceive that as Stacey making that clear or not, because he actually did talk about this in the ACB module. If the previous week closes in breakout, if the previous week triggers the previous week's higher or previous week's low, if the previous week breaks out, if the previous day breaks out or closes in breakout, that's a signal for either a dump coil pump or a pump coil dump. Yes, these are lower lows. Yes, that's a lower low. Lower, 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 low. But if we're following the signal days, again, 1 day of breakout traders, 2 days of breakout traders, 3 days of breakout traders is a signal for, and this is why you should master the signal days. That is the recipe for the short squeeze, low of week reversal trade. And even if you're only on the 1 hour chart, all you had to do was buy this candle right here. No drawdown, no heat, explosion after the news. The parabolic trades, when you really study, they're tradable from a 1 hour chart, which means you do not have to go any lower than a 1 hour chart. But if you're going lower, you're just getting a better entry. But what do we have here? A week that closes in breakout with what? Higher highs, which is the recipe for the dump and pump if it sets up. So inside day signal again, and this is all I do. Lower lows again. I'm gonna look for a pump and dump, but not necessarily. I'm just following the rules. I'm the AI robot. You put the rules in place, you give the AI the models, the AI is not going to break any of those rules. The AI is just going to follow what it told you to do. We get the breach of the previous day's high, which is a higher high after a inside day, dump day, first green day signal. Get really good at marking up these charts because once you do, the first green day signal gave the first green day trade from the breakout level. Closing breakout again. Higher highs again. Higher highs again. Now, well, we had a closing breakout and we did get a 3 session reversal trade because we did get lower lows on the inside. We did get lower lows on the inside, which is the recipe for the pump and dump. This was a beautiful 1, 2, 3 peak formation low, peak formation high, lower lows on the backside, dump, setup. Now we're getting lower lows again. But for this week, guess what the week did? So at the end of the week, I'm on my 4 hour charts to see if the week itself gave me a signal. Inside week is a signal, just like the inside day. What can we look for? The false break reversal or the trend trade. What did they do? They triggered breakouts. They failed to go lower, failed to go lower, failed to go lower. Breakout, pump, right back up because higher high is the recipe for what? Higher high equals dump and pump. But we do have a breach of the previous week's low. So I will be mindful of this. This comes first. But I will be mindful of this because if they do set up for a pump and dump, mind you, they had to pump it back up anyway, which is why whether you were right or wrong, you still should have been able to catch this trade because of the signal day, because of the higher high, because of the breakout level. Whenever you get a closing breakout, draw the breakout level across. They trapped shorts underneath the breakout level and continued long right off of the previous week's low level. Let's see. RIP to all the shorts gold. Oh yeah. So first green day indicates we're going higher after the dump because we previously had a closing breakout higher highs. Now all of that is just confluence. First green day signal equals buy low, but I do need higher highs. I do need a dump down. Um, and if you have a playbook of first green day examples, they should all look very aesthetically pleasing. Now, I love the closing breakout signal, not only because it gives trades the next day, but the best closing breakout signals gives trades the next few days. Now, there's no closing breakout signal here, Ashley, for this week. We just got the first green day signal, and it was a dump and pump. GJ, we got the first green day signal and the first green day trade on Monday, first green day signal Friday, first green day trade Monday, higher highs, breakout, pullback to a level, continuation. What is this, guys? Peak formation high, peak formation low, backside, higher highs on the backside. It's just a 1, 2, 3. And no matter what setup it is, no matter what signal it is, everything is either a pump for a dump or a dump for a pump. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I can go and mark off every single setup, 3 session, 3 days. If you're on a 4 hour chart, you might even be looking at 3 weeks for that month because this is the first week of the month, right? But let's look at as a matter of fact, let's look at gold. I'm gonna make a huge point with this one here. Gold was a beautiful chart. The first week of August, closing breakout, higher highs. What is that the recipe for? Uh-oh, I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, closing breakout, higher highs. That's the recipe for the dump and pump. Higher high equals dump and pump. It's my basic formula. Closing breakout, by the way. Wink, wink. Yes, they're triggering lows the next week. Yes, I am aware of that, but I am not ignoring this because higher high equals dump, 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 and pump. But we had confluences here. Yes, these are short trades here. And for that week, they gave signal days, wink, wink, to go short in this week. Where? Underneath the breakout level because we had a closing breakout. And then the next week, we continued to have short trades. But as soon as they engulfed the low bear and they gave us a RE, range expansion, which all this is, you can mark this up as a BIS. I don't care. Doesn't matter. But what does matter is signals. We have a first green week, third week of the month, week 3. Week 1, opening range. Week 2, initial balance. Week 3, reset. Week 4, closing week of the month. All of the concepts are fractal. And then we get higher highs, which you guessed it, is the recipe for dump and pump. And gold went on a tangent for the range expansion. and they're still going on a tangent. Now, this is a 4 hour chart. So hopefully this answers your question about the 4 hour chart. So every month, week three, there's some chart playing out. No, but week three, if there's a signal, because week three in a month could be the third week of breakouts, or it could be a closing breakout, up high, high of the month, low of the month. Because I'm just gonna make this clear. High of day, low of day, high of week, low of week, high of month, low of month take precedent over everything. High of week, high of day, high of day, low of day, high of week, low of week, high of month, low of month takes precedent over everything. This was the low of the month. This was the high of the month. The best trades are going to come from the low or high of the month. And remember, Monday is the opening range, Tuesday is the initial balance, Wednesday is the midpoint range. The first week is the opening range. The second week is the initial balance. So we don't even have a high or low in place until the second week. The high or low should be already put in place. And by that time, they should be either working the low or working the high. Now, what is this? It's a one, two, backside, higher highs on the backside. Three, dump, consolidation, higher highs, pump, setup. A one, two, three. It does not matter at all. If I can't count to three, there's no trade. If you're not counting to three, you're not keeping it simple. How to utilize the 8 hour chart? I don't. And even if I was to use the 8 hour chart, I'm going to use it the same way as the 4 hour chart. Previous week levels, previous week high, previous week low, previous week close. Please explain the importance of Monday, high, low over the week. And what does that mean? Monday is inside. Monday is day one, the opening range. Tuesday is day two, the initial balance, which means that it's potentially the high or low of the week. If they go higher, we're going higher. If they go lower, they're going lower. If they stay inside, we're just inside. That question right there that you just asked, SATYA, so I don't know how to say that. That question will be, well, you'll be much more calm if you just follow the process. What is that? I'm looking for signals. And then I mark off the breach of previous day or previous week levels. Now, the 8 hour is here. I actually did delete this, but just for clarification, again, I would use the 8 hour the exact same way I use the 4 hour and even the daily. Because even on a daily chart, I have the previous month high, low, and closing price levels on the chart. We had a double inside month. Excuse me, no, we didn't. Inside month last 2 months ago on gold. And then last month closed in breakouts. But what do we have here? Higher highs. That is the recipe for the dump coil pump. Higher highs on the inside. That is the recipe for the dump coil pump. So, regardless of all the knowledge, which it is a lot of knowledge, believe me, it's a freaking headache. Forget the knowledge. Master the process. You're inconsistent because you don't have a consistent process. Every single day, this is exactly what I do. I just mark up my charts. And you know what's so funny? Gold kept giving me the same freaking trade days in a row. Higher high, dump coil pump from a level. Higher highs, dump coil pump from a level. Higher highs, dump coil pump from a level. Same trade. Higher highs, dump coil pump. Now they finally gave me the reversal trade in Asia. But higher high is the recipe for, you guessed it, dump, low bear engulfment, higher highs, pump, front side equals trend, backside equals reverse. So you're marking up levels, right? Are you just now joining or were you here the whole time? This is recorded, by the way, so you guys can rewatch, which I highly suggest you all rewatch this over and over and over and over. Because look at my chart. All I did was prepare myself by marking off the signal days and marking off higher highs, which is the recipe for the dump and pump. Lower lows, which is the recipe for the pump and dump. What is this? It's a one, two, three again. I can go to any setup and any chart and quite literally find this pattern over and over and over and over. You're not keeping it simple. You don't have a consistent process. I guarantee it. Forget all of the this what sound effects. I wish I had sound effects. Where can I watch and replay this? Well, it's not uploaded yet, so wait for me to upload it and you'll be able to rewatch it. Okay, I know it is a dump pump setup. How to dump coil will be, and I am reading this. You have a typo here. How to dump coil will be in before the pump start. Could you retype that? Because I don't even know what you're trying to say. How to know dump coil will be end before the pump start. Well, if I think I'm reading your question right, I have to make this emphasis. I am not trying to figure out where the market is going. I am just marking off signal days and higher highs and lower lows. That's how I know. I don't know. I just wait for the session to start. And if I'm near or at a level after a signal day, after higher highs, I take the trade. Now, I'm being so dead serious when I tell you this. I don't know where the market is going. I don't care where it's going. I'm not trying to figure it out either. I'm just following my rules. So I don't know if the coil is over. But one thing I will say is whenever I get a dump, right? And then a higher high on the inside, guess what that is the recipe for? The dump and pump. So that's all you had to do. Let's go to my trade on Friday. I'm going to make a huge emphasis here. We had a closing breakout signal on Friday, right? Closing breakout. Let's go to a 15-minute chart. Closing breakout signal because I actually did take this trade. Closing breakout signal. Higher highs, which that's the recipe for the dump and pump. They dump it down, dump it down, dump it down. Let's mark it up. Peak formation high, step one. Peak formation low, step two. They already, if I'm following market structure, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Breaking structure, higher high on the inside. Guess what that is the recipe for? It- don't be dumb. And I'm not being offensive by saying that. What is
Dump
that the recipe for?
and pump.
Dump and pump. Easy. Guess where you're gonna get in? And I actually didn't even get in until they got to the closing price. I don't care about all this being first, being cool. I care about what's consistent. If I didn't get in here, guess what I'm gonna do? Because this is a successful breakout trade. As soon as they break out, I'm in. Breakouts, the trades that actually break out, when they break out and they stay out. Hence, wink, wink. Go on your charts and mark this up. You'll find it over and over and over. Let's look at the trade I took on Wednesday. Same thing. Same exact thing. Closing breakout, higher high, P formation high, P formation low, higher highs on the inside. They dump it down. The session starts, New York Open starts. They dump it down to my level. They engulf at the level. They trend back where the dump started. One, two, three. Again, it happens over and over. You're just not seeing it because you're not looking for it. You're not keeping it simple. Let's see, marking the chart creates the fact that minimizes impulsiveness, manages FOMO, and keeps the emotional trader from harming himself. His rules are his law. He doesn't break his own laws. Correct. Let's see. So you know to take a trade if price is at a level, even after everything, no level, no trade. Do you restrict yourself to a session? Like if London hit the level and went parabolic, but I only trade New York, do I skip that day? Yes, I would skip that day because it already went parabolic. I trade Asia and New York. Uh, I primarily trade gold. I do trade other pairs, but let's just say you're trading London. I'm still looking for a 1, 2, 3, and that's gonna be a New York, Asia, London, or it could be a London, New York, Asia trade. Look at this. Look at this, y'all. London, peak formation low. New York, peak formation high. Asia, lower lows on the inside. Yes, this is a nail and bail because it's against the trend, but I take trades like this. And then when New York opens, I'm taking it right back up. Higher high equals dump and pump. And if they give you a trade setup during a session timing window, the dump back down is actually tradable if it sets up. Only if. Look at this. Higher high, New York session, pull back to a level, trend from the level. I can go to any chart, you name it. Let's go to GJ one more time. And I'm going here because I actually took this trade, nothing else. They and mind you, oh my God, look at this. Peak formation high, peak formation low, higher highs on the inside. Low bear is holding. They pull back. And guess where they're going? Back to I don't know why that says first Green Day here, but they go back to where the dump started. This was a low of week reversal on Friday. Oh. And guess what else we had? Oh my God. We had day one shorts triggered, day two shorts triggered, day three shorts triggered, which is a signal for either a short squeeze, which is what we're getting right now, or a Trend trade, parabolic. What are you looking for? Please tell me. Explain it. Be specific. Don't go into fear or FOMO because the market looks like it's doing this and you think it's gonna do that, but then it does something else. But the problem was that you were thinking when these setups were designed so that will stop thinking, and then when it sets up at the level, you just take that trade at the level because I will also say this one more time. This is a very uncertain environment. The markets is very uncertain. So what's the point of idolizing the market when you can set rules in place in your favor? Now, that's not all of it because you do actually have to believe you can do this. And that comes with repetition, which means you have to keep trading. But if you're having problems, you need to stop trading and build your playbook. And I just showed you how to do it. Go back, months back, mark off the signal days only, mark off the higher highs and lower lows only. Stick to a 1 hour chart and observe what session they came off of. Observe the higher high, the dump down, the pump up. Observe even if you were late, let's say that, and they did take off in London. You're late, but you're still coming off of a level that was drawn across from the week itself. These levels were support levels heading into the US session. So the US session, even if you're late, as soon as the session opens, engulfment, bang, breakout, bang, you're in. No questions asked. Easy. What are you looking for? Keep it simple. What is this? 3 days of breakout traders? No, it's not. GJ was weird this week. We're still inside, so you're diddling. Let me just repeat that. You're still inside. You're diddling. Now, if you are inside, you better be coming off of a level. It better come off of a level. Because if you're not coming off of a level, you're diddling and fiddling and trying to figure it out. Do you have a signal day? Do you have the breach of the previous day, high or low? Did you mark up your charts? Because if you did not mark up your charts, oh, you are in some serious trouble. You can mark off the 1 hour. I suggest starting there. And then once you get really good and you want to get really specific, and this is how you can prepare yourself for the next week. So when the month or the week ends, because the month also closed in breakout, which is crazy. But when the week ends, look on the 4 hour chart and see if you have any signals. Mind you, I'm not trying to figure out where the market is going. I'm just looking for signals. And then when I get those signals, I put that pair in my watch list. And on that pair, I'm looking for signal days for that week. And whenever I get a signal day, that will be added on my watch list for that day. And then when I get to that day, I will look for either a pump and dump or a dump and pump. That's it. Markets do three things. They break out, they pull back, they trend, or they will break out, fail, and reverse, or they will break out, pull back, and stay in a trading range. Which one are you looking for? We're all different. It's just like playing sports. We all have different positions, different preferences. Be yourself. Let's see. After how many inside or day zero days do I get rid of the day count? Or so long as it breaks out, it doesn't matter the number of days it was inside. Uh, See that question gets nullified when you mark off your previous day, higher low, higher highs and lower lows. Because as long as they keep giving you higher highs, guess what I'm thinking? And then when they break, guess what I'm thinking? What's the difference between inside day and day zero? I'm gonna blow your mind with this. Every single setup is a variation of a day zero scenario. What is the day zero scenario? Peak formation, or peak formation. You are now in a day zero scenario. And from there, they can break out, pull back, and trend. They can work the highs, consolidate, and reverse. They could coil from the inside and go parabolic. You pick. They could break out, fail, and reverse. Everything is a day zero. That's why that question really does take me because there's the trap and shift. There's the pump coil dump, dump coil pump. There's the day zero. There's the first red day, the first green day, inside day. And then traders ask, well, what's a trend trade? What's a reversal trade? How do I know? You don't, which is why I have rules and signal days, and I follow them to a T without breaking them. And that is it. So hopefully this lecture really, I'm see now that you got to learn by yourself. Because I can tell you, and you're still not gonna do it until you learn it for yourself. Now, if I was just to tell you, let's just say I get in here, first position, they pull back, and before or right when they're breaking out, I'm adding positions. If there's any sign of failure, I close the trade. But they break out, they pull back. As they're continuing, I'm adding positions. When they break that high, no more. If they're failing right there, you better close it. So I can tell you how to do it, but you have to learn it for yourself. I had to learn it for myself. And there's a lot of traders that actually say the same thing. Enter, anywhere, enter, anywhere. If they're failing, you better close it because they're not supposed to. They're supposed to go parabolic. You shouldn't even be asking that question if you don't have a setup because the setup that you're mastering or mastered, that's the setup that you add positions on because you're confident in that trade. When Stacey speaks about looking at the box, is he saying that instead of mentioning, yeah, that's the box. Peak formation high, peak formation low, that's the box. And see, 95% of trading is just mastering the sub, correct? Being dead serious. Correct. I can tell you as a matter of fact, Richard Dennis, I can, and I'm quoting Richard Dennis, I can put my rules in the newspaper and you still won't get it. You're still not gonna do it. And here's my rules. I'm not that trader that's gonna tell you I have rules and then not tell you or show you, for example, what rules should look like. I'm gonna show you my rules, and then I'm gonna show you how to use the rules, which I did. And now what you have to do is figure out if you're comfortable with that. Do you need to tweak it? Do you need to make it simpler? Because for me, it doesn't matter what signal day it is. I'm looking for a 1, 2, 3, and that's it. I don't complicate it at all. If it doesn't set up, it just didn't happen. And if I lost that trade, oh well. That just means that I landed on the wrong side of probability because you don't know if you're gonna be right or wrong anyway. You can follow all of your rules and all of the rules can align and you can still take a loss. Let's see. When you say you need to focus on one setup, then should I just focus on closing breakout higher high signals and ignore first green day signals, or you need both to align together? That is actually a good question. Uh, Master one at a time. But when you get used to them over time, you'll see how they all work together. So you don't you if you like the closing breakout reversal trade only, then only look for that. But I will say the closing breakout reversal trade can oftentimes be the third day of breakouts and can also close as a first red day and then give you the first red day trade the next day. So signal days, all it gives us is information on higher highs and lower lows because that's all the market does. It's either going to break out, pull back, and trend, breakout, fail. We may get a first red day signal, closing breakout signal, and they're reversing. And let's just say this is a higher time frame. Day one longs, day two longs, day three longs, first red day signal, first red day continuation, break of the weekly low. They're breaking out, consolidating. Inside day signals, inside day low of week reversal. New week starts. They're pumping it up. They're pumping up. Closing breakout signal. Inside day signal. They're breaking structure the next day. Lower lows on Thursday for the pump and dump weekly template. It's just market structure. So when you realize this, that it's just literally a breakout pullback trend, a breakout fail reverse, or a range bound market, the signal days make complete sense because you see this closing breakout here, and this is a higher high. They locked in the high. What comes up must go down. They broke out, so guess what they're gonna do? Pull back. So I traded the pull back, but it was a setup, and it's just market structure. And then they continued the next day, breakout, pull back, consolidation. They came back above the breakout level. That's how we know we're still bullish. And we're still on the front side. We know we're still bullish. And they trend. Let's see. SPY. Oh, very nice. See, uh, me before we got on this Zoom call, me and Priyanka were talking about gold and some of the indexes. And it's easy. It really is easy. It really is. Closing breakout signal. Lower lows on the inside. It really is. High of the week. Highest closing price of the week and month, which equals sell high. That is one of my rules. So, very nice. I mean, you called that to a T. Easy. NASDAQ, same thing, right? NASDAQ. Oh yeah. Easy. Look at the timing of this. I can just tell without even, I don't even got to get down. But I'm gonna go on a lower time frame here. It doesn't matter what setup it is. It doesn't matter if it's 3 sessions. It doesn't matter if it's 3 days. It can even be 3 hours. One, two, three, backside, three levels of rise, double zeros, easy money. One, two, three, pump and dump mastery. I explain this in my pump and dump mastery ebook. One, two, three, does not matter. ABCs, ACB, one, two, three. When you say highest close of the week, you need to let a few days happen, so cannot apply that logic to the front side. You you're just gonna need some chart time, Nick. That's it. Just go on the charts and map this out. So highest closing price of the week, that obviously cannot be the beginning of the week. It could be, but it won't be the beginning of the week. But also, you still need breakout traders triggered, other time frame traders triggered. Someone has to be trapped. Someone has to be trapped. They break out the previous week high, trigger breakouts on Friday, free cash Friday, non-farm payrolls. They get traders chasing that. Oh, we're going to the moon. No, we're not. Where it's the highest closing price of the month and week so far. So on Wednesday, this was the lowest closing price of the week at that time, and we got a first green day. This is why I'm not just using one of my rules. I use all of them. Signal days, highest closing price, lowest closing price, front side, back side, higher highs, lower lows. I use all of them in conjunction. Then it will make sense. But if you're trying to figure this out, master one thing at a time. So this was a really nice, I had a really nice time today. Even though I didn't catch a trade, I didn't really care. I mean, I had plenty, trust me, I've had plenty of fantastic trades this week. I'm good. You do not have to press the button. You don't have to trade 5 times a week. You can trade once or twice a week with size and call it. Let's see. I will post this on my public channel. And yeah, NJ, what is that? New Zealand yen? Yeah, New Zealand yen. Let's see. Where are thou? New Zealand yen. I mean, let's start from the beginning. Close in breakouts with higher highs. Oh, yeah. On Monday. Higher highs again on Tuesday. We stayed above the closing price. That means dump coil pump. Higher highs again on Wednesday. Mind you, we were getting lower lows on the inside here. We also are at the highest closing price of the week at this time. Thursday or the close of Wednesday ended up being the highest closing price of the week. Even though this is not a first red day signal, it behaved as a first red day template. It's because of what happened the next day. They pulled back to the closing price after the lower low or the RE, lower low, which is the recipe for the, you guessed it, pump and dump where? On the back side. I love the back side. My chart is not updated. God dang it. Back side. Money sign IDE. Back side. On the back side. Get a reversal trade. We get lower lows the very next day, which is the recipe for what? The pump back up. They have to pump it back up. If you're not waiting for this, you're just being ignorant. Lower low is the recipe for the pump, pump, pump. And then the highest closing price of the week and month can be a level of support or resistance. That's one thing that I did not, or I failed to mention this whole time. And if we go down to our chart now with that level in mind, and we have our lower low on the inside, which negates everything to the left that it's lower than. So anything that is not lower than is a potential target. They pump it back up, and guess what time they dumped the new hour, which was the new 30-minute candle, the new 1 hour candle, the new 15-minute candle at the same time, 10 a.m. I guarantee you just don't have a consistent process. You don't know what you're looking for. And if you don't know what you're looking for, you better go figure it out ASAP. Now, what do we look for, Snipe? We're looking for pump and dumps and dumping pumps, bro. That's it. What is this? One, two, three. Again. That's it. Don't overcomplicate it. That's it. Awkward silence. Mic dropped. I'm dropping the mic now. Hopefully this really cleared some things up. And be patient with yourself and give yourself some grace because this will take some time. 1% better each day. You can always get better. Even myself, I don't necessarily consider myself the perfect trader because I am definitely not. So I just look to improve 1% better each day. That's it. You're very welcome. You are very welcome, you all. Now we are going to come to the conclusion of this live. Let's see. Higher high plus lower low equals lower low. When do you know it hits stops and goes higher? Higher high plus lower low. I don't even know what that is. That I didn't mention that in the rule book, did I? A lower low is when they break the previous day's low. I mean, but even still, even if it's a reversal, you need a signal day. After the dump and pump upside trend, you're waiting for the lower low. Higher high plus lower low. I don't you're gonna have to watch this video again. Just watch the video again. Trust me, I went over everything. Literally. Literally. I just concluded Stacey Burke's 1,000 plus videos in the past 59 minutes. Does a pin have to be within engulf or can it be independent signals at the correct level? Uh, that depends on you. Do you prefer pin hammers? Do you prefer engulfments? And I say this because you need rules. I can't answer that question for you. But what I will say is when I get to a level, it could be a it could be a bare candle. I'm still buying it because I'm at the level and I'm just gonna place my stop where it needs to be. But that's part of my rules. As soon as I get to a level, bang, I'm in. And that could be a bare candle. And as a matter of fact, for example, on this chart, on the 15-minute chart, now we're coming off of the level. But you see this bull candle here, as soon as this bull candle closes, I'm in. Cause that's part of my rules. I get to the level, I'm in. I don't even think twice. I'm in. And that could be a bull candle if I'm selling. So I could be selling a bull candle. Now that's part of my rules. So create rules, follow them, be consistent. Thank you all. Oh, GJ. Oh, hopefully this is making sense. This is 3 days of breakout traders, by the way. Monday longs, Tuesday longs triggered. Yes, they triggered the lows, but they triggered longs one more time. And look what they're doing from these levels. And remember what I said. As soon as I get to a level, I'm in. That could be a bull candle. I do not give a F. I will get in, place my max stop, which for forex pairs is around 10 pips, and I'm just in there. I'm in there. And then my target is going to be levels. Now, if you're waiting for pin hammers off of a level, there you go. You got the same trade. We're in the same trade. It really doesn't matter. What are you looking for? Me? As soon as I get to that level, as soon as they show any sign of rejection from a level, I'm in there. No questions. And I place my stop where it needs to be. Third hour. A lot of you just need to wait for the third hour only. You're very welcome. I'm gonna end this recording now. Thank you all again. There was like almost 100 people in here. That's crazy. Have a great weekend, everyone. Um, study, 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 but don't study too hard because you're not trying to get anything. There's nothing to get. Let that sink in. There's literally nothing to understand here. You need a process. That's where all of the understanding is going to come from, your process. So see you all next week, week 2. Have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you all on the next best trade setup. Hopefully, you're taking that trade with me. Peace.